It appears there's been another school shooting in the United States. Media has been reporting that this is one of the more deadlier shootings since Sandy Hook a few years ago. Looking through various media reports, it's pretty easy to find a lot of facts that have been reported at various news sources, so we can piece together relatively a decent picture of what happened. This shooting occurred this past Wednesday, which ironically was Valentine's Day. I wish I was making that up, but apparently that's what has happened. I will not be naming the name of this killer. I don't believe in that. But this is an individual that has been caught. He's been before a judge, and he's currently in custody. This is a 19-year-old male student who walked into Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, where, as a result of his actions, 17 people are dead and there is a further 15 injured. His weapon of choice was an AR-15, which is a legal gun to purchase in Florida, of which he bought at a store in Florida, according to reports. It's been reported that he walked in the school with the gun in a duffel bag, pulled it out, opened fire, discarded the gun, and fled the school by blending in with the students fleeing. He was later arrested by police a little less than an hour. I've heard reports of about 40 minutes after at a fast food restaurant. This is obviously a sad time, and there isn't much. What can we say? Politicians are already coming out of the woodwork and pushing all these standard political talking points that usually happen around this time. You have one side that now wants to talk about gun control, another side talking about mental health, and they're arguing over each other so hard that the story doesn't get enough air. The story ends up getting drowned out by the political arguing, and nothing happens, and it's a shame. To be fair, I thought that from what I have seen, that President Donald Trump actually had a very good response where he encouraged children to actually reach out and get help if they needed it. He talked about mental health, and again, for students to reach out to get help if they needed it. He also talked in ways about making schools safer. Of course, no details on what that could possibly mean. But that was a great response. There was no need to actually push a political agenda, and this is the part of the video that I find will be the most uncomfortable, is talking about, obviously, what is going to happen in the aftermath. Because in the media reports, I think it's been pretty well established that this 19-year-old individual showed signs of mental illness, showed signs of depression. I'm not sure if this individual was on any types of medication to treat depression. I haven't found that. But mental illness is something that we need to take seriously. It needs to be taken very seriously. Now, I'm happy that at least somebody out there is talking about mental health in this situation. But whether that goes from talk into actions is a completely other story and remains to be seen. But there is a lot that needs to be talked about. And the unfortunate thing is, there's going to have to now be a serious conversation about mental health, about medications that treat mental health, and firearms. There's three things there that we need to be talking about in the wake of something like this. And it's going to be difficult. You could probably see right now that there's going to be groups out there that will be angry that one of those issues is in the three things that I just mentioned. Sad. Things shouldn't be turning out this way. There's some realistic worries to have with all three of those things. Now, mental illness does not excuse anybody from their actions. There are plenty of us out there that go through incredible hardships. There are those of us out there that suffer every day with depression and other mental illnesses, and we still pick ourselves up and live our life normally. We don't lash out at people violently. There may be days where we might want to, but we don't. This individual, I've read reports where he recently went through loss, losing an adoptive parent as well as losing an adoptive mother as well as a father in not too long of a time span. That is something incredibly tragic. That could really mess up a young individual. That could really mess up a teenager. I have no doubt. But that's not a reason to excuse that kind of behavior. Plain and simple. And this is why we need to have honest talks about mental health. Why we need to have honest talks about different medications. And why we have honest talks about gun ownership. Some people will obviously come at you and say, well, what about driving a car? A car could be just as much of a weapon, yeah. And when you have certain health conditions, there's restrictions on your driver's license. When you're on certain medications, they say, don't drive or operate heavy machinery when taking this medication. Now, I don't bring up medication specifically for this case. But as somebody that has been treated for mental health issues, where I feel there have been times where all that's happened to me has been prescribed more and more pills, it's concerning to me. This whole thing should be concerning, and honest conversations need to happen. Because every year, or every couple of years, we end up right back in this situation where I don't think we truly know why this happens every so often. Anyway, there isn't much more to say other than that. I hope you at least found this informative, and I hope I've at least given you something to think about. Of course, condolences go to anybody who's affected, and hopefully there is some kind of justice. Anyway, I want to thank all of you for watching this video. If you like what you saw, please like the video. If you heard any points you'd like to continue talking about, anything you disagree with, anything you agree with, consider leaving a comment. Let's continue the discussion. Also, consider subscribing. Once again, thank you for watching this video. Have yourself a good day.